Welcome back to Upfront. The election now just 30 days away. President Trump getting coronavirus is a big development, and we're talking about it now with the state party chairman, Andrew Hitt of the Republican Party. We also have Ben Wickler of the Democratic Party. So thank you both for joining us. And I want to get right to this. So the president tested positive for coronavirus a month before the election. I want to know how this affects your campaigns. Chairman Hitt, we'll start with you.
Well, first and foremost, we wish the president well. We hope for a speedy recovery. And of course, we continue to pray for everybody who has been impacted or lost a family member or economically impacted as a result of COVID-19. 2020 is quite a year. And we started with in the April 7th election, and the voting that we did there went virtual for a few months. As Republicans, we went back on the campaign trail in June, knocking on doors, making phone calls, recruiting volunteers, and doing events. We're going to continue to do that down the stretch here in the last 30 days. We've built a massive ground game, deployed that ground game with over 10 million voter contacts this cycle, have knocked on just a little over 1 million doors. We've got our playbook set, and we're going to continue to execute on that.
Will you be taking any more precautions, Chairman Hitt, now that you know that someone like the President of the United States can still get coronavirus?
Well, look, I mean, we want to be careful. We want to be conscientious. This is a terrible virus that has hit not only Wisconsin, but around the world. So when we knock on doors, we're wearing masks, wearing gloves, knocking on doors, taking several steps back, making sure that as we talk to people, we've got distance in between us. Yes, it's well known that we have been doing events. At those events, we make sure that we're doing temperature checks. We make sure that we have hand sanitizer. Try to do them outside when we can. We have also made sure we're encouraging people to wear masks. But look, as I've traveled around the state, not everybody wants to wear a mask, and we have very much encouraged it.
Chairman Wickler, I saw you shaking your head a little bit. What did you want to say?
Adrian, I'm so glad to be with you today, and I'm so concerned and hoping that the President and First Lady and Hope Hicks and everyone in the White House and in Wisconsin and around the world recovers from this deadly disease. And I think this underscores the crisis that we're in. I mean, from La Crosse to Green Bay to our nation's capital, this coronavirus pandemic is spreading. Death rates are up. People are growing gravely ill. And I look at the photos from indoor events where people are not wearing masks that I see happening on the Republican campaign side. And it's exactly the problem. We need to have a government, and I hope two political parties that take this crisis with the seriousness that the 200,000 families that are grieving for loved ones that have been lost to this crisis deserve. And that means really listening to the scientists and doing all that we can to keep people safe while we make our democracy work. It's a fundamental responsibility that falls on all of us.
And Chairman Hitt,
Adrian,
the president, yes,
Adrian, I just want to say that I know people want to make this a partisan issue. They want to make mask wearing a partisan issue. I've traveled all over this state. It's not. There's not just Republicans. This isn't a partisan issue. There are people that don't want to wear a mask. Look, I can't really explain it. I don't quite understand it. It seems to be geography and, somewhat culturally driven. That is, though, the reality.
I want to jump in on this because I agree that there are some folks across political parties who are taking this very seriously, and there are people who are not listening to the science and the expertise, and we need leadership from both parties. And if one party won't provide it, we need to elect the other party to get this pandemic under control so that we start saving lives and so that we can get our economy back on track, our schools reopened, and not have our hospitals overflowing. At this point, Republicans in our state legislature struck down the governor's emergency powers and had not met for 170 days. They gathered in the Capitol to hear Mike Pompeo give a partisan speech, but they haven't passed any bills to protect Wisconsinites, and people are paying as a result. This shouldn't be a partisan issue. Health and safety should transcend partisanship. And I invite and I welcome Republicans to join Democrats and independents around our state to get this pandemic under control. Right now, the Republican Party of Wisconsin, the Legislative Caucus, Robin Vos, Scott Fitzgerald, and the President of the United States are falling down on the job to protect Wisconsinites, and we need to change course fast.
I do want to ask about the president's visit that was canceled here, because we know he was supposed to have 2 rallies in Wisconsin. And Chairman Hitt, I mean, that's been a major issue in the campaign, is that the president is saying, hey, I'm out there, I'm coming to the people, trying to say Joe Biden's not, and then he was holding smaller events. So how does this kind of mandatory 10-day pause, not being able to hold these big rallies in this state, how will that impact the base?
Well, look, it's definitely going to change, as you said, how the president is going about the next 10 or 12 days. It's not going to change how we are, on the ground here in Wisconsin, where we started to build this massive ground game, this massive neighborhood team. We're going to continue to execute on that. We're going to continue to energize our base. They're extremely excited. They're energized. They want to work for this president. They want to see him appoint another Supreme Court justice and get a 3rd Supreme Court justice confirmed. The energy is going to continue to be high as we move down the stretch.
And Chairman Wickler, I want to ask you a little bit about your strategy, because I read an Associated Press article saying Joe Biden's campaign is about to launch door-to-door canvassing across several battleground states. Is Wisconsin part of that? Will you be going door-to-door?
So the fundamental commitment and principle is that we start with the health of voters and our communities and our staff and our volunteers. And that means watching as the science evolves and improves and looking at coronavirus conditions across the state as well as across the country. And you can see a huge difference. I mean, I think as Chairman Hitt shared, the GOP strategy has not changed in response to changing conditions and changing information from science. The Democratic Party's campaign strategy has absolutely changed. And we piloted an all virtual campaign in the spring election that had a spectacular effect, helping people return absentee ballots. We are far ahead of the GOP in helping people cast effective absentee ballots right now. And as we look forward, we're going to keep on monitoring conditions and the best information from scientists and adjust tactics accordingly.
So do you think you'll be going door to door? Will that be happening soon here in Wisconsin?
I think we're going to keep on looking at science and conditions. As of today, that's not something that we're doing, but we are looking at all the options as we go down the home stretch to make sure that we're protecting people and we're doing the things that help people to cast ballots, which is convenient and easy, and there are more options than ever before. And as we go forward, we're going to keep on maintaining that commitment. I hope that the other party will join us in doing that as well.
So we do have more to talk about. So if you could both just sit tight for a second, we do need to go to a quick break right now. But when we come back, more with the party chairman, including their takes on the chaos in Cleveland.
President, can you let him finish, sir?
No, he doesn't know how to do that.